My stepsister's wedding's coming up, and I'll be honest with you, I act like I want to be petty here. But you know what? I might just let karma take over instead. I'm using a temporary account. When I'm 29 female, was little, like 7 years old, my dad cheated on my mother with my stepmom, Karen. After her divorce, my mom moved away and got married again. I was always put under the impression that my mother abandoned me, and that's why my dad told me that too. Karen had a daughter at that time who was 5, Mia. Mia and I were kind of close growing up, but when we both hit puberty and our personality was different, Mia was the typical girly girl. She developed beautifully, and she was basically like Cassie from Euphoria. She would get all the attention. Even my relatives preferred her more than me. I was basically a nerd. I was interested in sports, but I was told that I don't look bad, and I'm a very attractive and pretty woman in my own way. But I was overshadowed by Mia constantly. My dad was someone who is the opportunist. Whenever he would see an opportunity for him to shine, he would absolutely just take it. Well, even if it meant sidelining his own daughter. He was that Mia got more attention than me, so he invested everything on her. I was kind of jealous, not gonna lie, but I wasn't really that bothered because I believed if I did something good, I would be appreciated. So I studied hard, got into a prestigious university, and that was the only time my father threw a party for me. Because, I was the first in the family to do it. But I'll tell ya, I could sense it. Mia, she was absolutely just so jealous of it. So, anyways, during my last year of high school, I started dating Timothy. Tim for short. He's 30 and male, and he proposed to me when we were sophomores in college. But we decided to wait till our graduation, so one day during our semester break, I went to his home and I saw him, ducking Mia. I was shocked to say the least, and I remember I was just crying and screaming at him. I could never forget that smirk on Mia's face. That's when I knew that Mia was an absolute witch. So, my dad and stepmom knew about it, and guessed what? My dad told me to, quote, forgive them. His logic is, "Oh, Tim must have just fell out of love with you, so he fell in love with your sister. You should give them the blessing instead of being petty." I shouted back that of course you'll say that because you cheated on Mom. My dad and me had a screaming match, and he told me that he would disown me if I don't accept them and come to their wedding. I remember that I stormed off and cried for days. That's the moment I realized that I was alone in this world. My dad didn't care if I was dead or alive, but thank goodness I had friends who I could count on, and I started therapy. After, a friend of mine pushed me to do it. It did help a bit in my mind, but I still wanted some sort of, revenge. I wanted to be petty and make her regret. I started to think what I could do. My initial plan was to wear white on her wedding day, but then I ran into Mia's ex, Jay. Jay and Mia have been one of those couples who were on and off again. Mia exploited Jay a lot. The last time they broke up was when Jay caught Mia flirting with one of his friends. But there was a lot of history, so when Jay learned about Mia and Tim, he was a little angry, to be honest with you. He kept saying he wished he could just take revenge on all the times Mia had done him wrong, so I had another plan. I asked him to be my +1 to our wedding, and I know Mia still has feelings for Jay. It would make her so mad. But we agreed that after we would part our ways, and then, we went to the wedding. I was not in the wedding party, and my dad was cordial with me because I wasn't creating trouble. So I went to her wedding with Jay, and I was wearing a bright red dress because I read that red means you slept with the groom. It was also over the top. I might have made some heads turn when Mia saw me with Jay. Her face turned absolutely pale. I was purposely being very touchy with Jay, whispering in his ears, touching his shoulders, dancing with him very closely. I swear, Mia was just as red as my dress. I was also asked to give a speech, and I kept it short, saying something like, "Thank goodness I don't have more sisters. Otherwise, Tim would have swapped Mia with one of them." You know, he has a fetish of, well, having fun with his fiance's sisters behind her back. Me and Jay were obviously asked to leave after that. The next day, I was bombarded with messages and phone calls, and I didn't pick any of them up. As for Jay, he stuck to our deal and I never saw him again. After the wedding incident, I decided I should find my mom because something in me was telling me that she did not abandon me. It wasn't hard to find her. I found her on Facebook and we start chatting. She's married and has 2 boys, my half-brothers. I got the real story from her. She did not abandon me. My father won the custody case and he used my mom's past substance abuse to take away her visitation rights. We reconciled, and for the first time in my life, I felt welcomed. I also met my stepfather and my 2 brothers. They are amazing people. Since then, I would regularly meet them, and 2 years after the wedding incident, I met a guy named Andy. We met during an alumni program in our college, and he also went to our college, but he was 5 years my senior. We had a lot in common. He was kind, sweet, very mature. He knows about my past and has been really supportive. He was better than Tim in every other way. He was charming, had a really higher position in his job. And after 2 years, my sister contacted me out of the blue. Told me she was pregnant and she now wants to bury the hatchets. Well, I was very reluctant at it, obviously. I was afraid that she would try to steal Andy away from me as well. But Andy reassured me that he's not that weak. Honestly, I do want to meet Dad again, so I gave it a shot. I went on dinner with Andy, and to my surprise, Tim recognized him. It was later revealed to me that Andy was basically Tim's boss. This is a fact I did not know. My dad and stepmom brought me to a corner and said that my relationship with Andy is unacceptable because I'm trying to hurt my sister by dating Tim's boss. I told them to duck off. My love life is none of their business. The dinner went sour after that, and I got a drunken call from Tim that he's very unhappy with my sister, and that he actually wants to escape. He never knew what he lost until he saw me with Andy. I ignored him totally. Then the phone calls did not stop. First, it was my dad telling me that meeting and dating Andy is causing tension between my sister and Tim. I told him their marital life is none of my business, and I got a call from my stepsister who asked if she could come to my house and talk. I told her after the dinner party I wanted nothing to do with any of them. That jerk didn't even listen. Instead, she went to Andy's office to, quote, convince him to talk to me. Of course, Tim saw this and accused her of trying to seduce Andy like he seduced him. Well, long story short, Andy had to fire Tim for his misbehavior. This caused even more tension. Tim became verbally abusive towards Mia and said his life was ruined because of her, and they separated. Tim's trying to figure out how can he handle their divorce proceedings. After the Tim and Mia drama, my dad suddenly showed up at my apartment. He was bawling his eyes out that he caught Karen sleeping with his male cousin. He was absolutely devastated, so I told him what he said to me when Tim cheated on me. Karen fell out of love with you, so, well, she fell in love with your cousin. You should give them your blessing instead of being petty. Ha! My dad was confused. I further told him, well, you taught me this, you don't remember? When I was sad about Tim cheating on me with little old Mia, you told me to forgive them. My father's face was rotten, to say the least. Now I have 2 family members who are going through a divorce. Tim and Mia tried to reconcile, but eventually they settled for divorce. My dad did apologize to me for what he did to me and Mom, and I told him that he deserved what's coming for him, and that I have no feeling left for him, not even pity. If the time ever comes, I might forgive him, but I don't want him anymore. He will not be walking me down the aisle. Andy and I are recently engaged. We're having a small ceremony with just the close friends and family. I was only planning for a petty revenge, but karma got them better. I guess it is what they deserve for being such crappy people. I know this sounds like a work of fiction, but it's not. Real life sometimes is stranger than any fiction you can write up. I might update if something big happens, but right now I'm just busy with the wedding. Update. 4 days later. Hey everyone, boy, I've been bombarded with messages and comments all alike. I don't understand why you think this story's fake. It's real. I know people will say it's fake, but I'm glad even if you guys thought it's fake, it was good enough for you, so I just want to clear a few things up. Number 1. First of all, I called Mia Cassie because she kinda looks like that actress and also because she always likes being the center of attention. But I was not some ugly duckling as well. I just didn't want to grab too much attention to myself. Number 2. My dad was very image-obsessed person. That's why he always favored Mia over me, because she was the type to grab the attention. The only times he actually favored me is when, well, I got into a prestigious university. But other than that, I was pretty invisible to him because I was reminded of his failed marriage. Number 3. About the dress. The red dress. I was actually planning to wear white. But at the time, I read in some magazine that wearing red in a wedding means that you have coitus with the groom. And it was a vibrant red. But to be honest, I don't think people got it. I should have stuck to white. LOL. Number 4. I did not know that Tim was working under Andy because when I learned Andy was Tim's boss, he only started working at the company for like 3 months. I've went to Andy's office a few times, but only during lunchtime, and I never ran into Tim. So, I hope I cleared it up. Sorry, it's not much of an update, I'm busy with my wedding. Also, because of my mother's request, I've decided to contact my father. I'm willing to invite him to my wedding, it's short notice, and I will cover for his flight and stay. But I'll be putting some boundaries. I don't want Karen and Mia at my wedding. My dad can walk me down the aisle along with my stepfather. My stepfather is an absolute wonderful human man. I know a lot of you will say my dad doesn't deserve it, but hey, he's still my dad. He's trying his best to connect with me, and I can be amicable with him, and taking away the opportunity from him just seems a little bit cruel. Final update. A month later. I'll soon delete this count, but hey, I got married, y'all. I'm really happy, and don't worry, my stepmother and stepsister were not invited at all. The wedding went amazing, and Dad came and we hugged and cried a bit. I am not sure I can still forgive him after what he did, but we'll sort this out in therapy, which he said he'd pay for. My dad will soon get divorced from my stepmom. He did walk me down the aisle along with my stepfather. He did not create any scenes, and we shared a dance. That's pretty much it. I don't know how much about Tim and my stepsis. I just want to say thanks to everyone who supported me in the comment section in the first post. I'm currently in my honeymoon, relaxing, hoping this new chapter of my life is absolutely peaceful. And to that commenter who said they can't wait to see if I get pregnant with twins or not, thank you. I hope it's not twins, but triplets. Ugh. But yeah, me and my now husband have talked about having kids. It would be a great addition to our family, but it's reserved for the future. Thanks for being there for us. Now it's time for me to enjoy the beach, and maybe even have a few mimosas. Adios. Alright guys, this story was pretty intense. A lot of the comments were basically similar to this one comment that was highlighted. See, I was going to get mad at OP for trying to bury the hatchet. I'm the type who wants the anger and revenge to be, well, eternal, when the grievance is adequate. But to see that it leads to further damage to Mia and Tim, well, good on ya. So guys, I want to hear from you. What do you think of this story, and what would you do if you were in OP's position? Go ahead and drop your comments down below. That's going to be this for story 1. There's no more updates on it, but we do have another story to jump into, and the title is this. My fiance's best friend sent me proof of her cheating at her bachelorette party, and I simply don't know what to do. First of all, sorry for my mistakes. I'm writing in a state between exhaustion and being completely drunk. So yeah, pretty common story. Met her 5 years ago at university, fell deeply in love and thought she was the love of my life. 5 years of relationship, she decided to ducking crush, LMAO. I want to break my skull right now. We were not a perfect couple, but darn, we were close. Her family liked me, and while I don't really have one, I felt so welcomed in theirs. We had projects. The first one was me just buying this big, now garbage of a house near the sea. Building a family of our own, on my own. I proposed to her earlier this year, and I could think of a better night than this one. Why the duck she had to throw everything away like that? Yesterday morning, I woke up with a big headache from, well, my little party with the boys. And what a surprise when I saw that my fiance's best friend sent me not 1, but 5 freaking videos. How naive, I was thinking. Oh, cool, they had fun. Must have been some fun or embarrassing moment, LOL. To summarize the 5 videos. Her kissing at least 3 other guys. Making out really passionately with one, and I mean really passionately, licking champagne off his body, and finally her being lifted up into a room and a lot of noises from behind the door. My friends are still with me. As dumbfounded as I am, I guess that she slept most of yesterday because I had the first text last night and a crap ton of them plus calls since this morning. I only asked her yesterday to tell me the truth, and she played like nothing happened. I just can't. I swear to goodness it's crushing my mind. She's just begging on texting me for me to pick up, saying it's not what I think. Yeah, how cliche, right? Even her best friend's trying and told me we need to talk. I picked up just once and told her, I know for the guy, and the bam, blank silence. Then sobbing and crying, telling me to meet to explain, because it's not what it looked like, before I hung up and turned off my phone. Even asking me who the chick was that sent me the videos. Guys, I really thought I could have my own family. It was hard growing in foster care, and I guess I only had my brothers and my job left. I guess I need some outside advice, right? Maybe it really wasn't what it looked like, but what to believe? That was some BS. Update. Well, the wake up was hard, but I want to first thank all the kind messages and advices I got. For the people who insulted my fiancé, please don't do that, even though I understand how you feel. For now, I just need to get back home, so I texted her that she had until this afternoon to pack some stuff and leave to her parents' place, and of course not with the car that I bought her. She called me and begged for a chance to explain. So there was crying, guilt-tripping, that I'm not believing her over someone I don't really know, telling me nothing happened in that room, and that the kissing was all she did. At this point, I was at my breaking point, but I held tears and asked to tell me the truth or I'd just disappear from her life completely. So, more crying until she confessed that all she did was just have a little fun with her mouth. Detailed, but nothing more happened because she stopped. She swore that's all she did, but how can I be so sure? I never saw her that panicked over something before. She even proposed something like a free pass for me to cheat on her or anyone, like WTF. I can't even describe how sick and disgusted I felt while hearing all this. I hung up, because, well, is there more to say? Through all the messages and calls from her friends and family, it was mostly messages, telling me to pick up and talk with fiancé. Like a lot of advice, I told friends of mine to download the videos on his phone and computer, because I can't stand to have this on mine. I also picked up when one of her best friends called me. Basically, she explained that another girl invited her brother, who is a stripper, and his friends. That's why I already saw his face somewhere, and she then took a solid 20 minutes telling me she betrayed Fiancee because how much she did not deserve me. How I was too good, handsome, and attractive, and even wealthy for her. I asked her if my fiancé ever did something like that before, but she told me no. I asked her if maybe drugs could have been used, and she laughed and said no, because she was still going after the cheating. She then offered to come to my place in order to support me, but I kindly declined. I need to be alone now. The wedding has been canceled, but I did not tell the reason to my parents yet, and I turned off my phone like basically all week. Well, I took a break from work, and my days right now mostly consist of going to bars and getting so drunk that I pass out. At least we had a good laugh with the boys, even if I can hardly remember the last parts. Thanks again. Never thought this would blow up so fast. I'm kind of very introverted as a person. I meet my current friends, only have 4, but I can't thank them enough. And, well, my fiancée was the popular type in university while I did was study and play basketball. She was my first relationship, my first time, my first everything. Throwing up 5 years just like that, and well, she keeps on texting me to meet and talk about this like an adult, sending me what she ate like nothing happened, and then trying to talk about our dreams together. It's so ducked up. But fortunately, there's a nice old expensive bottle of whiskey that's waiting for me at home. Alright, so there's a lot of people in the comment section that were so eager to talk about this story. Let's just go ahead and start with comment 1. It says, the whole, quote, free pass to cheat thing clearly gives away her mentality. Obviously, his mentality is that he wants to be in a monogamous relationship with her, and her cheating is a big betrayal of their trust and intimacy. He's upset because he only wants to be with her, and she thinks that somehow her offering somebody else besides her for him to sleep with will somehow justify it and make things right. That would only make sense if everybody in monogamous relationships secretly want to cheat, which it seems like she assumes that that's the case because it's the case with her. So guys, that's a really good point to bring up. Let me know what you think about that, and, well, go ahead and drop your comments down below. That's going to wrap up today's video. I hope you enjoyed the content today. If you did, consider subscribing for daily videos, and I will see you in the next one.